Now, I don't think that I was bad at communicating 2 years ago when I started the podcast. I don't think that I lacked huge amounts of confidence. However, doing this 100 times over, just sitting here, talking, uploading, putting it out there for 100 weeks in a row, between week 6 and 7, if I were to compare the two, no difference. Between weeks 74 and 75, no difference. But if I were to compare the way I spoke on episode 1 compared to the way I can now speak, if I were to compare my confidence more generally in conversation and the confidence that I have to actually articulate my thoughts and not be embarrassed and not be scared to think that somebody's going to think you're silly for having a certain thought, somebody's going to think you're an idiot for holding a certain opinion or viewing the world in a certain way, but actually understanding that it's good to talk, right? It's good to have conversation, and whilst you may not always agree with somebody, two people coming together who disagree and then arriving at this third point of understanding is way more valuable than just lacking confidence and holding in all of your own ideas and then feeling slightly misunderstood or feeling like you're not really reaching your potential. If I compare the version of myself 2 years ago who was terrified to sit in front of a camera, sit in front of a microphone, even sit in front of somebody I don't know, whether it was a friend of a friend or a new client, and actually just speak, actually just be true, rather than making small talk about the weather or wheeling out some kind of half-scripted thing, just talking, just asking questions, just looking to understand somebody and build deeper connections, right? Sitting here and doing this podcast, but really this thing where I just talk and learning that it's okay when you talk, it's all fine. I think that that's the thing that podcasting has taught me, right? Not only has it, at least in my opinion, made me a more effective communicator, and it will continue to do that. Episode 200, for example, will be way more polished than this episode. Same will be true with 300 and 400 and so on, right? But also just the confidence to actually speak, to actually communicate. Because, now this sounds dramatic, but I genuinely believe this to be true. Most people don't ever speak their truth, right? Other than maybe in the most intimate settings with the people closest to them, which is fine, by the way, but I think that is a life not fully lived. Whereas if everybody you encounter, whether online or in person, whether somebody you've known for years or somebody you've just met, if you have the confidence to trust yourself to say the right thing, and in doing so, to understand that person more, to build a deeper connection, to learn something from them, that is literally a key to unlocking so much in life. Like, it sounds theoretical that talking to everyone and being really open and honest and hiding nothing and being vulnerable and listening and learning and accepting other people's opinions is positive. Sure, theoretically that sounds fine, but I'm not sure I would have ever put myself through the discomfort of learning that face-to-face in person, right? There's probably something like 60 or 70 hours of this podcast. To have 60 or 70 hours of open, thoughtful, meaningful conversation with people you don't know in the real world would take years and years. And so I think that this podcast has sped up the process of me arriving at that point where I'm happy to just talk.